Well, the home of the so-called war on drugs has waved the white flag on cannabis. US President Joe Biden is pardoning thousands of Americans convicted of simple possession of cannabis under federal law. Only around 6,000 people with prior federal convictions will be affected, but Biden is urging state governors to follow suit. He says those with prior convictions could be denied employment, housing or education. Well, let's get reaction now and bring in Sarah Helm, Executive Director of the New Zealand Drug Foundation. Kia ora, Sarah. How significant is it when you've got the President of the United States making a call like this?
This is incredibly significant. We saw the drive for cannabis prohibition come from the United States, indeed, in the 1960s and 70s, and it's because of that drive that the rest of the world, including New Zealand, made cannabis illegal. And it's since that time that we've had an onslaught of prosecutions and convictions of New Zealanders.
OK, Biden has argued that these possession convictions were holding people back in life, affecting their jobs and their housing. Do we have the same situation here?
Absolutely. Most New Zealanders have tried cannabis and indeed try it and use it for a very short period of time. To have a conviction for that is hugely disruptive. It can cause you to lose your job, prohibit you from travel, pull you out of educational opportunities, etc. If that was your young person, for example, because it is mostly young people that get convicted, you would want them to have a different life outcome than a conviction.
OK, so calls today that people saying we should follow suit on this and do the same thing. Should we do that? And actually, can we? How would that work?
We absolutely could. So they're doing two things. They're decriminalising cannabis. They're looking at where it's scheduled in their schedule. And then they're also pardoning the convictions that have happened. In New Zealand, we've had over 120,000 New Zealanders convicted of cannabis crimes, possession and so forth, since 1980, which is a huge number of people whose lives have been disrupted. There's two mechanisms. You could do it through a piece of legislation, or indeed the Governor-General can issue a pardon.
OK, so it is doable, but we had a referendum on legalisation. Of course, we voted against that. Is New Zealand just not progressive enough at this stage?
Completely understand that. Look, that referendum, as we all know, was on a very specific piece of legislation to bring about full legalisation, which would have seen the sale of cannabis in some stores. What we're talking about here is not prosecuting people for possessional use, which is quite a lower level thing. And we have had 70-odd% of New Zealanders supporting that for quite some years now. And indeed, a poll conducted by the Helen Clark Foundation in 2021 and one by us just a few months ago demonstrated New Zealanders are ready for this change.
OK, Sarah, thanks very much for your insight tonight.
Thank you.